In this section, we're going to start making some changes to our deployment configuration file and just verify that all the pods that are associated with this deployment successfully get updated. So in particular, I really want to try updating the container port value down here from 3000 to some other value, because you will recall that when we tried changing that container port inside of our client-pod.yaml file, we very quickly got an error message saying, hey, you can't update that value. Okay, so back inside of the client deployment, so we're in the deployment file right now, I'm going to find the container port, and I'll update the port to 99999 like so. Now, just so you know, when we change this port assignment, you will no longer be able to visit our application inside of the browser. So in case you apply this update and then try to test it out inside the browser, it's not going to work because the container doesn't care about port 999. It wants to expose traffic on port 3000. Okay, so now that we changed our configuration file, I'm going to make sure that I save the file, and then I'm going to go back over to my terminal, and we're going to do the same thing we always do anytime we want to update an object. We'll do a kubectl apply-f client deployment.yaml. So I'll run that, and then it tells us very directly that an existing object type with this name was configured. It says configured as opposed to something being created. So we definitely just made a change to an existing deployment as opposed to creating a new one entirely. We can now do a kubectl get deployments to print out all of our deployments. Yep, it's still there. I can do a kubectl get pods, and now with this, you're going to see something a little bit more interesting. Notice how the age of this pod right here is 26 seconds. So clearly, when we apply this configuration file right here, Kubernetes noticed that we made a change to the template for the pods that are being controlled by this deployment. It saw that we changed the container port. And so rather than trying to update the existing pod that already existed,